You want to start it?
Huh? Yeah.
You start it.
Whatever you do, it's your show.
You got it.
All right.
Live from the Western National Stock Center in Denver, Colorado, it's the special edition ETHDenver Nerd Den with your host, with Todd Wanish and Dr. Funk.
Todd.
What's up, sir? How are you?
Here we are at ETHDenver. What a lively scene it is, everybody. There's all manner of people walking around.
This is like Nerd Super Bowl.
It is like the Nerd Super Bowl. Oh, we could do like play-by-plays with people walking through here. I just saw someone just look like she's dressed like a peacock. I'm not really sure what that is, but we take all kinds here at ETHDenver.
It's like everybody's cosplaying as Crypto Bros.
Oh, dude. What a theme night. Oh, this, by the way, sponsored by Liquid Death's Sparkling Water.
Yeah, thanks
What a cool name for
everybody
water.
setting this up.
Yeah.
Giving us the Liquid Death. It's friggin' amazing. It's great.
Yeah, so we've been here a couple days now. I was here a couple days before you, just hanging out. What are your thoughts so far on the experience?
It's really fascinating, man. This is my first time at ETHDenver, and actually first time at Denver at all.
Right.
And what's fascinating to me is that Denver is not what I thought at all. I love it. It's beautiful. It's spread out. Everybody's so chill here, man.
Yeah.
Like even the security guards and the cops are cool. Like the cops here, when you approach them to talk to them, they don't have their hand on their firearm.
Right.
Right. They're just like helpful, and they gave me daps and stuff. I'm
Todd's
like,
from the city, in case you
Yeah. I'm like, this is
hadn't
great.
realized that yet.
You know, like one guy was eating a sub, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, man, welcome. How you doing?" I'm like,
he's just like wiping the mayonnaise from
He's
his chin and be like,
so
just
chill.
hanging a Louie on 13th Street, man.
he was so chill. This place is wicked, man. I love it. And ETHDenver really is huge, man. It's much bigger than I thought. It really is sort of, coming from the pop culture side with like, San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con and just the pop culture side of things. ETHDenver absolutely seems to be the San Diego Comic-Con of like crypto events in the United States.
Yeah. For those who have never been here, this is the place that this is like actually a place where they have rodeos and stock cattle shows, and they've just revamped this. There's like this rainbow road for you to follow and not get lost. There's DJ chill room with these giant jellyfish that are coming down and just like bean bags to have naps at. They have free daycare. There's an arcade that's set up. Like it's legitimately a little bit of something for everyone, and everyone so far has been very, very cool.
Yeah, what's really interesting to me too is that there's so many events. Like when you go to NFT NYC, it's a little more in club, meaning you can go to the events, but you have to know somebody, or you have to be a part of the project, or you have to kind of really struggle to find the list of special events.
Right.
Here, it's like, oh my God, dude, like 300 spreadsheets of events. Like, there was like one major one that you put together that was fantastic. And then I got like 3 more. I was like, oh, here's the Bitcoin spreadsheet. You're like, oh my Lord. Like,
it took me at least a full half a day to sign up for everything. It's just like spray and pay. You just do everything that you can and hope you get the ones that have like free food and free beverages, which they flow copiously at all of these events.
I have completely ruined my email inbox.
Your what?
My email inbox is completely ruined.
Oh, yeah.
Like 100%.
Oh, mine too. It's going to take weeks to clean up all the like event trash and
yeah, it's a mess. But so what? Some of the events we went to, we landed and we started grinding. We went to a number of events. The one that stands out to me so far was last night, the Ordinal event. Want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, it was really cool. It's like, I think it was a cool juxtaposition, first of all, because you don't know where you're going, right? It's just an address, whatever. And you think like Bitcoin, ordinals, it's the precipice of technology. And then we wind up in this like old cowboy, like 50-cent whiskey, hole in the wall bar that's cash only. The ATM doesn't work, right? Yeah. And it's just absolutely packed with all these really cool people talking about really cool stuff. Because Ordinal's definitely hasn't been on my radars heavily. I know like you've got your drops, which is really cool, but I learned a lot. Had some great conversations, but yeah, it was pretty neat, especially with people building L2s on top of Bitcoin, which I'm
What?
still not entirely sure how I feel about.
Well, I think the thing that was fascinating to me is, uh, we just got back from San Francisco for the opening of the first IRL Ordinal Gallery,
Yeah.
right? Which is fantastic, and that place was packed.
Yeah.
And shout out to Cypherpunk Lab and Neuro,
Cypherpunk Lab.
Cypherpunk Lab, Neuro, all those guys. And then we come here and we're like, okay, we're gonna go to this bar and see how it works. Like, what's the vibe? Like, how many people show up? How many people know about ordinals? Because they're
Right.
still relatively new. And that place, I don't think that bar expected that many people.
No, I
It
don't
was
think so.
body to body. It was so packed that I mean, you ended up talking to whoever was crammed next to you, and you just kind of turned your body 360 degrees, and then you were like, "Well, I've talked to these 4 people that I can get to,
Yeah.
so I'm either leaving or I'm going somewhere else."
Yeah,
Like,
I don't think we ever really got much further than like 10 feet past the door the whole time.
Yeah.
And every time we'd like step out to vape or whatever, we'd come in and we'd lose ground. So and finally at one point we're like we walk back in the door, and that's literally as far as we can get. We're like, well, I guess we've done all we can do at this point, and just like on to the next thing, right?
Yeah. But I definitely feel like the vibe. I've had several people ask me, Todd, what do you think of the differences between ordinals on Bitcoin and ETH?
Yeah.
Like, what NFTs versus ordinals? And my takeaway is that I think the future of ETH for NFTs is going to be more of the company scale, right?
Mm-hmm.
So gaming companies, even adult fantasy is a perfect fit, right? Well, our project, our company, where we're building out lots of items, lots of objects, kind of a universe of characters and stories. I think ordinals is going to be the one-of-one art chain. I think Bitcoin is perfect for it. It makes perfect sense for it. I think it would surprise me if something like art blocks did not migrate over very soon. I think you might even see that in the next 12 months.
Yeah. Is it like are ordinals like the punk rock way to do things, like the true like underground way to produce this art now?
It really is. I mean, it's super hacky.
Yeah.
And to be straight up honest and transparent, I'm still learning a lot about it. It's a different language. And one of the other things that I find fascinating is that, at least in my experience, a lot of the people who are in Bitcoin and who are in ordinals are really in Bitcoin and ordinals. Meaning, when I make comparisons to an art, like we're talking about an ordinal artist and maybe an artist's success, and I'm like, oh, that's like Pack on ETH, right? And they're like, I've never heard of that person.
Right.
And you're like, what? How do you know? So it's really split off, right? It's like Marvel and DC. You know what I mean? Like you've got people who know who Magneto is, and that some people might not know who Green Lantern's villain is.
Right.
It's really fascinating. I'm a Marvel kid.
One of the coolest. So I do know one of the coolest things that I've seen in ordinals, and shout out to Bitcoin Live DB. I did an interview with them a few months ago, and one of the I don't know, it's weekly streams that they do it's audio ordinals. So what this guy's done is, whoever developed this has built a step sequencer, right, and is inscribing samples onto Bitcoin. So you load up the address of wherever it lives, right?
Yeah.
And that loads the sample into the sequencer. And so then you can make, it's like, a 64 step sequencer, and then you can make, different patterns and things like that.
Dude, it's so cool. And
that's really cool, man.
You know what's really awesome about it too is that Bitcoin it's so limited. It's interesting. Some people hate that kind of stuff, but I love it. I love a sandbox that has definitive rules, and you can't just do whatever you want. You have to be really thoughtful and really clean and really clear about your intent.
That's true.
Because you're working with something that was never meant to do what we now have the ability to hack to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to, for instance, if you have, we're setting up a couple drops right now, and again, partnership with Cypherpunk Lab, who's been phenomenal. They're fantastic partners. So we have 2 drops with them, and you can't have one is a photography drop, and normally a photograph is, I mean, depending on the size you want it printed,
Sure.
if it's in
Yeah.
gallery, it could be huge,
Yeah.
right? At least several megs. If it's small, it's several megs. But you can't do that with
Right.
Bitcoin. The cap really, I mean, 20 to 40K,
Yeah.
20 to 40K.
Right.
And so all of a sudden you're thrown into this realm of how do I retain the highest quality, but get that file size down so that it can be affordable to inscribe. Especially now, there's new tools. We are alpha testing a tool called Inscribe.io. Shout out to that team. They were super helpful in helping us set up this drop. What's so cool about the tool is it allows the buyer, the collector, to pay the inscription fee, so that you as an artist,
I see.
right?
Right.
Because we're doing a collection of 210 pieces, which is not a lot.
Right.
For me to go ahead and inscribe all of that up front is thousands and thousands.
Right. Without knowing, like,
Correct.
this is gonna.
Right. So you can pass that off to the collector, and it doesn't, it's not as bad because you're kind of decentralizing the purchase.
Shoot, man, I'm gonna get inscribing.
It's fantastic, dude.
I'm
It's a lot
ready.
of fun.
I'm
not gonna
start.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, it's been kind of addictive. Also, like, straight up, the ordinals community is fire. Like, they're super inviting and good people, and
I
like,
do agree there.
they party like a motherfucker though. So you gotta be better ready. Be ready. Be ready.
No, I totally agree there. I do see the allure of it, and especially with having to work within this like constrained little box. It's like we talk a lot of times. I don't know if it's like the right kind of parallel there, but we talk about even like when people are getting funded and sometimes having too much money is worse than having not enough money.
Yeah.
Because what you actually output is so much better. And
Yeah.
I guess I kind of see it on that level where you have to be really creative with what you do. How do you scale that up to actually like show?
Well, here's
like,
the
and
thing.
Then get the quality.
Here's what's so crazy though is we've entered this realm of AI now. So
Yeah.
there are already tools where I can take something that is heavily pixelated,
Right.
and it will use AI cleaning basically to enlarge it to whatever, I mean, a billboard size. Now, it's not the original detail because that is gone because
Yeah.
degraded the image, but the AI knows what's up, and so those photos look phenomenal.
That's cool. I
And in
almost see
fact-
that as like artistic in itself.
Yep.
I mean, I think that AI upscaling and just the way it changes little details or the way it iterates on stuff is sometimes like, no, man, there's some spirit in there that I can appreciate, even though everyone thinks AI art is bunk.
Yeah.
But I think using these tools and you have like your own spin on it, it's very interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, look at the Mona Lisa. It's like this big. So
Yeah.
if that's as big as you can actually blow it up, I mean, that's cool.
It's
Just
true.
Don't throw paint on it.
The size really, in art, size does not matter.
Yeah,
and,
not
and I
at
think
all.
we get
Not
caught
at all.
up, like when I was in art school and especially as a young painter in New York, like you get caught up because all the gallery shows have giant fucking paintings.
Right.
It's like, man, I have to do a painting that's 8 feet tall by 6 feet
Right,
wide.
right.
Otherwise, I'm not going to be taken
Right.
seriously. And then you hop
that I made in my extravagantly expensive studio
Right,
loft
yeah.
that I can't really
Right.
afford.
Right,
And I'm like
exactly.
hanging off trapezes and throwing paint.
That's
like
right.
I see on
That's
Twitter
right.
and stuff.
You bet you do. Trust me. You do like 3 or 4 of those paintings, and you're like, "Fuck, I can't. I don't have any place to put this thing."
Right.
But then you go to the MoMA, and then you see something like Salvador Dali's Persistence of Memory, and it's
yeah.
the size of a sheet of paper. It's like, I don't know the actual dimensions, but it's like 8 by 11. Like, it's super small, and you realize that that's one of the most, all-time famous paintings.
Absolutely.
In terms of recognition.
Absolutely. A
And
lot
that
of
thing's
those
tiny.
classic great artists, I mean, they were producing stuff, little oil stuff. They take their little bitty canvas and easel
Yep.
they take with them and they sit it on the beach and do some pointillism or do their, whatever it is. And
Yeah.
they're all small.
100%, and that's why I think that's where to me as an artist, that's where the opportunity is, especially on ordinals as an independent artist. Because I'll give you an example. So we have 2 drops coming up. One is called Mickey Maxey's, which is we inscribed. So backstory: January 1st, 2024, Mickey Mouse comes into the public domain.
Right.
At that same time, UTC, both we had a team on the East Coast and a team on the West Coast.
Yes.
the West Coast team was inscribing it on Bitcoin, and the East Coast team was minting it on ETH.
Yeah.
So we own we basically own that. We have the very first Mickey Mouse public domain on those two chains.
Yeah.
And it's really important. It's not just because it's Mickey Mouse. It's because it actually has a major significance for creativity and for independence and be able to allow anybody with talent basically
and it's verifiable. It's verifiable. You can look on see what block height. Like, yep, that was us.
100%.
We did it, baby.
Absolutely. And you now have a 100-year-old character with major worldwide recognition.
Right.
That if you take the care and if you take that under your wing, that property under your wing, and you care for it and you add to it and don't just be a dick about it.
Right.
Right. Oh, Mickey Mouse horror film, Mickey Mouse porn. Yay.
Right.
You actually add to the story.
Mickey Mouse horror porn.
Horror porn. Let's do it. But adult fantasy. It's not what you think.
Probably is. What
it probably is a little. But if you add to that lore, you're gonna have a massive spotlight because there's people around the world that have an emotional attachment to that. So that's the first thing. The second thing we're doing is a documentary photography project.
Yes. This was cool.
In 2010, 2011, I was honored to be a part of the studio of an artist named Jeff Koons. And Jeff is phenomenal talent. He's like the most successful artist since Andy Warhol.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to be in the studio, actually being one of the people who were making the work.
Wow.
And while I was there, I took a lot of documentary photography, and out in the open, no problem. And it was really to document the work that I was doing and the work that my friends were doing. And it's beautiful because it shows a different side. Like, to me, the work in progress, which is the title of the collection, was to me the final work because you're seeing the layers and the effort and the thought put into this stuff. And so,
which most people don't get.
Nobody sees it.
They don't ever get to see.
Well, they don't appreciate. I think you learn to appreciate the final piece more.
Yeah.
Like, people see the final artwork and they're like, "Oh, that's really cool." But once you see it, like how it was made and how much effort it takes, and how impossible these things are. They're so high level. I think you have a much bigger appreciation for the completed work when you understand the body of how it was made.
I mean, look, man, I sit there and watch videos of people power washing sidewalks all day.
Me too, dude. I love that.
The end product, right?
I love it. Super relaxing.
It's so nice. But I mean, but nobody. It's very hard, especially like. I think it's really unique because from your perspective. One, because you were there helping this artist do that. And all the great artists have the people in their studio that assist them with making art. Or like back when, all the great painters had people making copies of their paintings or working on copies of their sculptures and things like that. And that's just part of art. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand. But to be able to see that from your perspective as that first person who's participant combined with this artist, I think is very cool.
Totally, man. And I think the going back to the point of like how it's moving into ordinal space. What's fascinating about it is as a medium, I sat on these photographs for 15 years, man. Right? Like 14, 15 years, and I was like, oh, maybe it'd be an art book or maybe I'll make some photos. I don't know. And But the medium of the ordinal was such a perfect fit that it just seemed to flow. I was like, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
And I think as we move forward, and I've been talking about this with some of the ordinal people. For me personally, as an artist on the individual side, like I think there's an opportunity to make a new body of work. Not necessarily the in progress photographs or the Mickey Mouse, but maybe whatever. But like. You can now sell the digital. Say you make the digital, it's an ordinal. It gets into the hands of collectors.
Right.
But then it's not that difficult to tie that to a physical as well.
Of course.
So then you ship the physical. And all of a sudden, you now have like this dichotomy between the digital version and the physical version. Both, of course, are legitimately original, right? And it becomes a way, almost as a reward for the person who first bought in, because you can bond them together where you have to send the artwork to the next person who buys it, or you don't.
Yeah.
Right. So I have the original digital. I have the original physical. I decide to sell the digital. I still have the original physical.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's almost like a 2 for
Yeah,
1.
I can see that in reverse too, because I know a lot of people who collect serious art that just sits in a storage in a safe place somewhere, right? And these kind of the ordinal thing, I can have that here. Maybe I can make a little print or something, but that is the thing that I know I've got this, even though it's in a climate controlled
Yep.
vault somewhere,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. There's a couple of companies working on that, and that's something we've been looking at too for adult fantasy for the technology that we have for
Yeah.
the immutable grading that we have.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Oh,
aging
yeah,
stuff.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, because I really like the idea of, um, okay, let's say let's say you have a comic book, and it's a graded comic, right?
Right.
And it's also, if there's actually a physical as well. So you have the digital NFT or whatever, and you have physical. Well, if it has value, let's say it has a few $100 worth of value or thousands or whatever, you can keep that physical in a climate controlled place, secure with insurance and all that. And then you have the digital representation of that. A digital representation is immutably tied, soul bound to that physical
Right.
that's
Right.
locked up, right? And so I can trade that, I can sell that, I can do whatever I want.
You can read your Action Comics number whatever on the toilet.
Exactly.
Not have to worry
Yeah.
about it.
What are you doing? I'm reading Action Comics #1 while I take a dump.
Right.
First printing.
Yeah.
You know? But then what's really great is if you ever want the physical, then you can actually just you basically burn the NFT.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Right? You burn the NFT, get the physical, and then someone else, if they want to put it back in the vault, they get that.
It's a great idea, actually.
Right? Yeah, there's some good companies that are trying it, but I think there's a lot of opportunity
Most definitely.
out there to do it. So.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the art thing's cool. You're starting to get me like actually really bullish on the ordinance thing. 'Cause I'm all about I don't know, it just seems very, like Johnny Mnemonic hacker, kind of credo
Totally.
stuff, like putting this stuff together out there, like, it
Well,
just seems very.
it's super punk, bro.
Yeah, it's super punk, man. It's just super, super punk.
And I think that's what
really
this is
dig it.
about. Like,
Yeah.
like it's so interesting because a few years ago, ETH was punk, and it's still punk.
Right,
Like
yeah.
most people, it's not like it's common knowledge. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
You know, our Lyft guy was talking about FTX, which is pretty funny. But
Yeah, but hey, I mean, mine gave me a free doobie, a business card to let me tip him in crypto, and then redeem a free NFT. I was like, "Welcome to Denver, man."
that's the way life should be, man.
Gosh, so I guess I got a physical and a digital.
Yeah, you
with
got
that one, right? But no, I mean, it's cool. It seems like you're right though. ETH isn't like as punk anymore in some ways. So I mean, is that just why we do the ordinals thing now? Because somebody thought you couldn't or you shouldn't?
No, I mean, I think that could be a motivation, but I think that's like a 5-minute motivation.
Right.
That's like, yeah, let's fucking do it. That's enough. But no, I think what makes ordinals so special is the fact that it's tied to Bitcoin.
Yeah, of course.
Right. Bitcoin's going to be here forever. Everyone knows it. Bitcoin's the future. ETH, I think, is going to be around for a long, long, long time. I'm sure, everyone has a million different perspectives, but to me personally, I've always felt that, Bitcoin is digital gold, ETH is digital oil.
Right.
Like those two things are going to be around probably at least through our lifetimes. I mean, forever. Like, I don't see why they would ever go away.
Yeah,
I don't even know if you could make it go away. So
short
it's
of
so
like
strong.
a giant solar flare wiping, but see, even then, technically, it couldn't, as long as you know your seed phrase.
Right.
That's the thing is like with crypto. Somebody said like it's the only store of value you can take with you in your head, no matter what country you're in, no matter what border you cross.
You want to know? I'll tell you a quick story. What really got this locked in for me, where I was like, this is my life. I mean, I was like, when I commit to something, I commit 100%.
Yeah.
And so when we started doing adult fantasy, I was all in. I dropped everything. I was doing very well with advising and teaching founders, and it was I was having a blast.
Yeah.
But the opportunity here was so, I always call it like my own personal Venn diagram. Like everything that I had in my entire past aligned perfectly, and blockchain was the center.
Yeah.
It was the center of the dial. I was like, okay, I got to do it. But it was I think it was must have been 2022. we'd already launched. We were building a community. We were doing like fan art and stuff like that. And there was I'm not gonna dox, but there was someone in our community who was doing artwork, and it was pretty cool. It was a little out there.
Yeah.
But we started a dialogue, and it turns out that she was in Ukraine.
Okay.
And this was right when Russia came in.
Yeah.
Okay. And we didn't want to. I didn't want to. I was curious, but I didn't want to pry.
Right.
But what we learned is she fled, right? So, and what was so crazy is, she said like there were so many people like with like cars and pull carts and just full of family heirlooms. I mean, the exact same thing you've seen in pretty much every.
Oh, I know, man. I mean, my wife's Russian, so
yeah.
I mean, I know. Like,
you've seen those photographs.
What like the hard life was like. Yeah.
You've seen those photographs of like people fleeing their villages or fleeing their hometowns or whatever, just taking family heirlooms, paintings, whatever they got.
The city my wife is from was completely burned to the ground in World War II.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. So like, I get it.
Totally. And what was amazing, she said, is like everyone's carrying all their stuff, and she just has her whole family's legacy on a fucking ledger, right? Just on a ledger. And it was the ease of that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And once I heard her story, I was done.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, you know what? That is why we do this.
Yeah.
It's the just in case. For me, anyway, a lot of it is. I mean, there's a lot of fun and a lot of like hell yeah, but at the bare bones of it, it's like the what ifs.
Yeah.
And where we're headed.
Yeah.
Where I think we're headed. And
where are
we
headed? Where are we headed? Because I think we just got. Well, I think we just got the. I think he's maybe been here 20 or something like that. But
okay, so
where are we headed? Where are we headed, Todd?
Oh Jesus!
Where are we headed in this ETHDenver convention? Where are we headed in entertainment? What are we doing?
I think So here's the thing. I think we're about to pop. I think we're about to blow because I know for a fact, talking to a lot of people in entertainment, that every single major company has been building in the Bear.
Yep.
I mean, you name it. Every major studio, if you watch TV, like streaming networks, watch a movie, play a video game, they all have go to LinkedIn and type in any Web3 job title at any major company.
Right.
That's in entertainment, and there's a job there.
Yeah, sure.
Someone has that job.
Their secret divisions.
Yeah.
Why they're laying off other staff.
That's right.
Like EA I just read today they just laid off like 600
That's
people.
right.
Yeah.
And I think you're gonna see a major boom. I think some companies are just gonna do it and eat the crow of like gamers saying, no, we don't want Web3. Because like this massive, like we're living through this weird Stockholm syndrome of like, I don't want to own my things that I pay money for.
Well, I even think it's about ownership. I mean, so if I recall the article, EA laid off, I think it's like total like 1% of their staff because of changing customer taste. But then part of it was also that they're going to de-emphasize doing like outside IP stuff and just want to focus on their own IP. So that, they do Star Wars and a lot of these other things that are in production, things like that. But have we run the course on the safe IP in film, in games, the stuff that's going to sell? See, for me, I feel like this is the time where the new, fresh indie IP starts to bubble up. Everyone's tired.
Every new IP is coming from Web3. I think YouTube is the bridge. Like YouTube is the now generation where like a lot of the top IPs and the top shows and the top influencers are coming from YouTube.
Yeah.
And that'll continue because there'll be a lot of crossover between Web3 and YouTubers and stuff like that. A lot of partnerships.
Yeah.
But you're going to see the same thing that's happening in Web3, like your YouTube, like your Mr. Beasts. There's going to be a Mr. Beast of Web3. There's going to be influencers in Web3, and that will bring it into popular culture.
Yeah.
Because they're only going to sell their things tied to Web3.
Yeah,
everything will be tied to Web3. You want a stuffed animal? Well, you can scan it and get your NFT, or join the game that's online. Or
my daughter just got a pudgy penguin from her friend at her birthday party the other day, and I was like, "Babe, this is an NFT and like this and then this." And she's like, and like all the other parents are looking at me like, "What is this guy talking about?" I was like, "It's a cool penguin."
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But I mean, that's where it's going.
It is.
I mean,
It really
merch,
And this
IP,
is
brand building.
and this is the spot, man. This is it.
This is the
We
spot for
Eat
sure.
Denver. Should we wrap
Yeah.
it up?
Yeah, I think we got to wrap it up
Let's
here.
go.
We're getting
so,
the eyes.
everybody, Eat Denver's fantastic.
Yes.
We got to do shout outs. So, Doc, where do they follow you? What do you got going on?
Oh, Dr. DeFi, DOKTOR_DEFI at Twitter.
Awesome. I'm at Wanish, at WAHNISH on Twitter and on Telegram and pretty much everywhere else. I just use my name. And check out adultfantasy.io. Also, we just launched a brand new website. It has all our brands, everything that we're working on. If you want to learn more about us, especially those ordinal drops, you got to stay tuned for that. So go to cleverera.com. That is CLEVERERA.com. Clever Era.
Yeah.
And we're kicking ass, taking names, and
taking names. And come hang out on Thursday nights when we co-create stories in the adult fantasy universe.
Do it. That's
it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of bad jokes. There's a few good jokes.
This is true. A lot of bad things. Thursday night we do lore games. Friday night we do something called Nerd Den. And man, it's going to be a party. Everyone's invited. We just like hanging out, nerding out, talking about comics and nerd shit, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
Like a bunch of middle-aged white dudes, except for
With
Ramel.
nothing else to do on the weekend. So it's always a good time, though. So definitely come check us out. Todd, it's day one of the expo. We have a lot to explore, a lot of Telegram contacts to trade.
Absolutely.
A lot of value to add, a lot of shirts to grab.
Let's do this. A free swag for everybody. Let's go.
Yeah, baby. Let's do it. All right, everybody. Stay tuned for more awesome stuff from Adult Fantasy. Come join the Discord. Follow us on Twitter. And talk to you soon, right?
Absolutely. Peace out, guys.
Peace.
Later.